Okay, I make a motion we approve case 615-001, a $50 gas card out of the needy fund.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get organized here. So we're gonna move forward with, a little bit early, but you're ready?
Me?
Yeah.
Already? Here I was trying to formulate what I was going to say. Well, part of what I was coming for today was to find out what Tom's decision was and if you guys had sat in council with him and talked to him about, you know, the difference between the two positions and whether or not he had made his decision, because, you know, people were asking which way he was leaning, and I don't know, so we thought we would ask you.
Which means so that if you want. Yeah. From, it's my understanding, I don't have a letter, I want a letter of acceptance. And in that letter of acceptance, I want a determination of whether he understood this, the benefits being stripped July 1st or not. It is my verbal understanding that he does understand that and still wants the job.
Good.
But again, I want the letter.
Yeah, okay. All right, my second thing that I wanted to talk to you about was in regards to the charter, the town charter, and I was wondering if you fellas had given that any thought. I've heard from quite a few people who thought it would probably benefit you as a Board of Selectmen to have a clearly defined rule of order as to how each level of government in the town should be working. And in order to do that, as we discussed, we have to find 4 people who are willing to be elected to that post. So I'm wondering if there is going to be a ballot in November, that if 4 people came forward or more people came forward interested in participating, if that would be something that you as a board would be interested in sponsoring.
As my understanding, I printed off the right paperwork here for you. I've been inundated since I got in here at 4 o'clock. My understanding of the process is that 5 people need to approach the town clerk and certify that they are interested in the charter. And there's a process in the law already established, which doesn't include us at this point in time. Basically, it will turn into a citizen's petition. But you'll have to certify to the clerk that, you know, whoever those 5 are, that they are the ones collecting signatures for this petition. So I believe the number was 213 signatures that need to be gathered.
Between all 5 or per person?
Between all 5.
Okay.
And then then at that point it will be put down in front of the Board of Selectmen as a citizen's petition request to be put on the next available ballot, depending on when you turn them in. If we have to have a special town vote or not. But that's where that would go. So let's just say it was November, by the time you got these done, we get to set it up for the November. What would happen then is the people of the town would vote whether they want to start a charter commission or not. If it's a yes and passes, then you go forward from there.
Because in the end, they still have to vote for the whole charter. Okay, that was my understanding.
So I have that printed off for you as an answer.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to know is that I had seen in Harrison's paper that both Selectman Nadeau and Selectman Heath had turned in their resignations toward the transfer station. And
Point of order, I didn't say that they had.
Oh, okay, I said on your thing that they had resigned, so.
They said they were going to resign.
Oh, okay. So I was just wondering if those resignations had been turned in?
Mine has.
Yours has? Thank you, Mr. Nadeau.
Finance too.
Okay, thank you. And apparently, that's all I have, because the only other questions I had were for Tom, actually, specifically, and since he's not here, I'll wait.
Okay.
It was just about a road, I guess he was paving on Varney Street, and somebody just had a question, and I didn't know, and I couldn't look it up, so
Okay.
I'd prefer just to ask him directly.
Sure.
Thank you.
May I ask one question regarding Tom Torno?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the differences in responsibility and powers between the road supervisor and the road commissioner?
The only difference was that as a the selectmen board being a board of road commissioners, the road supervisor would come in and answer to that board of road commissioners. It was a mutual discussion and determination on what work would be done. It still should function that way to some degree. Realistically, in my mind, it was more of a title change than anything.
I just had one more question, actually, and this came from talking with one of the gentlemen here. They had said that they thought Tom, when he was road supervisor, was coming in and asking to do certain projects, and that none of his paperwork was getting signed. I assured him, I've been here pretty much every meeting for a while, right? And I told him I had never seen you folks deny him something. I've seen you and Tom talk back and forth about a few things, but
We have a full record of all the purchase orders that have ever been done in the town, and when they have been approved
Okay.
or not approved, and what the money was, starting since their inception. There's never been any hold up on anything for roads.
So does the road commissioner need to come in and see you guys before he performs work and get it okay?
Any road commissioner should.
No, is that how it operates? I'm not saying it should.
Absolutely.
So before he does anything, he has to come in and get your
Any
okay?
good communication, absolutely. Because, everybody needs to be on the same page.
And if you and him disagree,
Then, yeah, we hopefully not. Hopefully everybody's mature enough to work
In the
something
past.
out. I don't care about the past. going
I
forward.
do, because I'm trying to figure out the difference between a road commissioner and a road supervisor, and I wanna know if that's part of the difference, is one way the road commissioner can do what needs to be done, and the other way it has to go through the selectmen.
Either way, the select board by state law controls the purse strings on anything that goes on in the town anyway. So, that's a determination from MMA and state. So, when the road commissioner will come in, and his job is to determine this road is in bad shape. My recommendation is this is where we work. We come in, we have a discussion, and that's just how it works. But I will, since we're kind of moving ahead rather quickly, are you completely finished?
I'm completely finished, yeah.
Okay. We do have other work that we need to do, just normal humdrum stuff, which I'll let you know what it is as we do it. But I will open up to 15 minutes worth of public participation, just on the heels of your question. If you guys have anything else, any other comments, questions, or anything like that?
Not really without Tommy here.
Anything you have, Harrison? Just for your record, on the charter, it's Title 30A, 2101. I don't know if you want a copy of this as well, then we can copy of that if you want.
Yep.
Can I ask a question? Pertaining to these two resigning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that
15 minutes
a law?
public participation.
Is that a law, that you can't be a selectman and work for the town at the same time? Because it seems like we've had several that have.
Individually, we can do it.
Yeah,
Like it was okay for me to do it by myself. But as soon as we had a second selectman elected, there's a law out there about selectmen, anytime they come together, it becoming a meeting. And that is against the law, unless it's declared a meeting. You see what I'm saying? That's.
were you guys aware of that before?
So we agreed, and actually the supervisor at the transfer station had spoken with us both previous to all of this and said, look, if you guys, if the second guy gets elected, you're both gonna have to. I prefer both of you leave, and we agreed to that. So,
We'll hate to see you both go, but
yep, But, hey, somebody else will have a job. It's part-time, a couple days a week.
Has that position been advertised yet?
I don't know if we had a chance.
I didn't hear the question.
Has the position been advertised?
With the position?
Not yet.
When do you plan on doing that?
I had spoken with Sue this afternoon when I came in at 4 o'clock. We're trying to define exactly where we've had two resign. We got to bring Ronnie in. I mean, that's where we're at right now. Do we really need to fill two positions? It's gonna be kind of hard to fill two positions for the limited hours they were doing. Maybe we only want to have one, you know, that's going to have 20 hours or something like that. So I want to talk with him first. So she was going to schedule an appointment to bring him in.
When you bring him into that discussion, will that be during a town meeting, meeting?
Be a public selectmen's meeting, yeah.
Okay, so that will be on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has Mr. Patch ever been in here in recent years and talked about what his needs are there for how many people, how many bodies he needs there to run that transfer station? Has that been fully aired out and vetted by the Board of Selectmen?
Not in my time. Not in the last 2 years.
I think it'd be a good time to do it.
Yeah, definitely a lot that we're trying to work on as far as even job descriptions, you know, in the whole town. Been lacking right along the way. Anybody else have any other stuff? As long as it stays controlled and, you know, I don't mind if you think of something, that's fine too. We're gonna just continue working. There's some purchase orders. You want to start with those?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
We had talked about the agenda, the selectmen's agenda, and how long prior to the selectmen's meeting the agenda should come out. Have you made any discussion on that so that you know, people have some kind of an idea? I mean, this one for tonight, we didn't. Nobody even let me know that it was at 7. I would have been here at 4 o'clock if it wasn't for Harrison. So,
right.
You know.
So, you know, the problem was, obviously, we're willing to accommodate the request that was made. We had to do some shuffling, we had to make some phone calls. Unfortunately, slipped through the crack a little bit between personnel here, and it didn't get done on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so we addressed it this morning, so it was posted this morning. As far as transparency, like as I said the other night, you know, by law we're not required to do minutes. By law we're not required to post agendas either necessarily, which you know, I just read that, so that surprised me. That's why, because I see your face.
Well, because we don't have a charter yet, is why.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not that I disagree and that
Right.
it shouldn't be done. I mean, that's why we are trying to do the best we can with it. As far as the minutes, I did look into that. You know, again, they've been being done within days of the meetings, but I did go back online and look, and yeah, you're absolutely right. They're probably a good month and a half, 2 months at least.
Yeah.
I didn't look for an exact date. So
Yeah,
again,
and I know that Paul takes them. I see
Yeah.
him take them, so
Yeah,
I was
we would
surprised
notice.
that they weren't available.
Yeah, me too, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I have a couple of watchdogs in town that have always said, hey, you're missing the minutes, and they never popped up, so I mean, I never went back and looked. But yeah, we are working on that. They've been, you know, in the past, they've always been forwarded to a third-party individual that we would rely on getting them posted. Somewhere along the line, somebody dropped the ball. Again, when we get the new website up, it's going to be a lot easier. I mean, it'd be a matter of me scanning them in over there and clicking on a couple buttons and then posting on the website.
Great.
So hopefully that improves.
And you're hoping to have that done by the 1st of July, if I remember?
I would love to. I'm not got an answer back just yet. I know it went live last week, and they're doing some tweaking and adjustments to it, and I have not been contacted at all from them this week at all.
Seems to be par for the course with them.
No,
They're taking
no.
a lot of money to not contact you.
Well, it's just one more thing I have to follow up on. But,
Yeah.
While these gentlemen are working on that, I'll Harrison a copy of this and have this going. Does anybody else want a copy of the charter law?
Can you briefly explain the charter?
What the charter is usually it's done when a town is incorporated, which would have been way back in the 1700s. and there's two things that are done. A town incorporation charter, which tells like who the officers are that are in charge of making the beginning rule, and then they move on to make a town charter. And what the town charter does is it lays out exactly what the selectmen can do, what they can't do, who's responsible for each branch of town government. For example, right now we have a purchase order system in place. If they would want to change that purchase order system, it would tell them, you can't walk in here at 10 minutes till 9 at the end of a selectmen's meeting and change policy in town. There are some things that would be choices of the voters as to which way it would go, and there are some things that are completely outlined by the Maine Municipal Association on the way they should be. And it kind of takes the little surprise votes away. It takes away any doubt. You will be able to say, hey, can he really do that? And you would be able to look at your town charter and find out if they can really do that or if they can't really do that, instead of having to go through 30 different websites, 30 different Maine laws, 30 different federal laws, and try to figure out which one trumps which to see who can do what.
In place like that right now?
We have nothing in place like that right now. Some people have told me there was one that burnt in the fire in the town hall many years ago, but I've asked the selectmen, and they've said they believe that that was the incorporation charter and not an actual town charter, and from what I can find anywhere, we've never had one. So
You could also write into a charter things like conflict of interest policy,
Right.
Ethics policies,
Complete constitution for
all
the town.
kinds of stuff.
Right, it's a
We don't have
constitution.
now.
No,
And
what-
it's subject to the
what-
whim of whatever board is in power.
Yeah, Lyman's got one that's, if you pull it up online, they did back in 2012, a draft copy, final draft copy, you can pull it up real quick, gives you a good example. Tells the establishment when the town was established, June whatever it was, 1767, and tells the parameters, the number of people. It just kind of gives as much information as possible. Right now, you get different ways that laws or rules can be put in place. Certain ones, policies the select board can do, but it's just a policy. So as you've seen in the past that, a new board comes in, they can change the policy. The next step would be to put it on the ballot and the people vote on it. That's an ordinance. Those are a lot more solid because once the people vote on one thing, it only can be overturned by the people of the town by vote. The charter takes it that next step. The ordinances then kind of become, a group of ordinances becomes the charter. And to overturn any part of that charter, it has to go back before a charter commission has to be created. It's quite a long process of it. So, want to make sure it's good and solid, because it's going to be difficult to change anything in the meantime.
And just so you know, the Maine Municipal Association has a complete list of like who should be included. You have to have 4, I think it's 4, correct, Ben? 4 people have to be elected by the people to sit on that charter committee, and then he probably has it right in front of him, but there's a list of everybody that has to be included on that charter committee, and you can have more than that, but you have to have at least those specific people that are considered knowledgeable by the town, and people who are voted in by the town. So it's not just like myself and Rebecca and Sandy and you can get together and say, hey, let's write a charter. No, it's very specific about who must be included in writing that charter. So, there are very specific steps that you have to go to, and you're guided by the Maine Municipal Association, who checks along the way to make sure that you're completing each step. So it's not, it's not something that just a group of people get together and make a decision on what the selectmen can do. It's a very specified, step-by-step rulemaking, and like Ben said, like a constitution for the town that tells what the rights are of each group and each board.
Is that approved by a vote of the citizens?
Yes. The people have to elect, like I said, a certain amount of people to be on that committee, people that they want on that committee. And then as the charter goes on, I believe it's each item on the charter has to be approved, and then the charter approved as a whole. So it is a time-consuming process. It's not, you know, when I first had read it, I'm saying like, oh, why can't we just do that? No, you can't. It's very time-consuming, probably a 2 or 3 year process before it's completed. So.
How is the charter different from a comprehensive plan?
A comprehensive plan, from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, comprehensive plan, the committee, sorry, but I'm trying to be able to hear you guys. The comprehensive plan, from what I understand, is you don't have to, am I wrong, Ben? You don't have to be elected to the comprehensive committee. Am I right?
May I change?
Okay, he can do that.
Okay.
He's
So,
better at that than me.
completely different. It's not a matter of whether you're elected to it or not, but the comprehensive plan is a goal and where that group of people then voted on by the town. What do we want to see put in place?
Like what businesses and
You
stuff.
know, it would help include zoning, you know, so industrial, commercial, you know, farm and field. It would put that in place, residential areas. Change is happening in town. I mean, you know, you can look back 25 years ago, you couldn't drive through Long Swamp Road in the wintertime. So it's a matter of, this would be a mechanism, comprehensive plan would be a mechanism to control that change. And the townspeople would have a voice on how it's going to be changed and what changes we would allow in town.
You know, Nicole's working on both of these. Have you been in contact
No,
with
no,
her?
she was working on the charter, but she was working on the comprehensive commission for sure, and that got voted down June 9th, so, to fund that. But I have talked to Corinna, by the way, just so that you know.
She might be able to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your goal on this is to basically put, just to get it approved, if the town even wants this by January?
Charter?
Yes.
That's not our goal, but I mean, that's, yeah,
Right.
a group of citizens.
But all you're gonna accomplish between now and the next 6 months is the fact that you want this, and then you'll put to go forward to vote for the 4 people or 5 people.
If they go through it and
So you're looking
approach,
at a year before anything's even thought about being done.
Right.
it's a long process.
Thank you.
Excuse me, is there any other agenda items?
I got one at 8 o'clock,
Who's that?
Shirley Mathews, coming in for summer camp.
All right.
She
That said,
couldn't be moved.
I make a motion that I leave.
So is this discussion gonna be picked up further with Tommy? Or is it done?
What discussion?
The one that was supposed to be happening tonight? Isn't that why you guys came here, was to meet with him and have a discussion on what his decision was gonna be?
And,
He
no.
was supposed to come in and he had some family stuff.
Yep, no, that's fine, I'm just asking, is it gonna be rescheduled, or is that a done deal now? He's
I get a letter from him, we get a letter from him stating, you know, that yes, he accepts the position and he understands there's no benefits as of July 1st. That's all I need.
Is that our only elected position that doesn't have benefits?
No.
What's the other ones?
None do.
None do? Fire chief, nothing?
Huh?
Fire chief, nothing? None of them?
They're not elected, that's not elected. Your appointed positions are different than elected. None of your elected positions have any benefits.
Just the appointed?
Right. As your employees. Yeah. Your town clerk's appointed, your treasurer is appointed. They're an employee, but they're still appointed to the position.
But the fire chief doesn't have benefits.
No, he's
No.
appointed.
And it, you know, it comes down to you're gonna be, full-time personnel.
Yeah.
So,
And the road commissioner is not full-time?
they're elected, they're not appointed, they're not an employee.
Isn't he the only full-time?
It doesn't matter. Truth is, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but we just voted on it in June.
We vote on a lot of things more than once.
What's that?
So we vote on a lot of things more than once.
I don't know about that, but it's just
Yeah,
voted on.
Yeah, that was in the, you know, what do I wanna say, in the referendum.
I saw it, I just looked at it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Any discussion past that, that's what we gotta go by right now.
Yeah, so that was our concern, was that just wanted to make sure that he knew that he wasn't gonna have any benefits if he went road commissioner rather than road supervisor, which are both actually pretty much the same thing, except for that he gets to keep his.
Any other full-time elected
Oh, I don't think so. I don't know.
So it's apples and oranges, full-time. So we can't hold another job to be able to get benefits, but we're not gonna provide them if you want, while he's working for us full-time. It's the only elected position we have that's a full-time position.
Bye, bye.
Everybody else works other jobs.
Right, everybody else would be-
Like Ben has another job up until whenever they resign. Mr. Heath and Mr. Nadeau had other jobs.
Okay.
So if our road commissioner is a full-time position, he obviously can't hold another job to provide himself with benefits. So we're talking part-time positions and full-time positions, and I think that was a little bit,
Yeah, that's why they actually put it on the ballot, so that the voters could decide one way or the other, and it's not their decision anymore, it was the voters'
Go back
decision.
on the ballot again in June.
Email us as a citizen's petition to do so.
So you could do that, put a
Right.
petition.
yes. Pretty good with what benefits from the town.
Any citizen can bring forward a petition, and, you know, get all the proper signatures, which is decided by the last, what did I say, state election, basically, to make it simple. Yeah.
Is there a certain criteria to do a petition?
There are,
Yeah.
you can find them right online, they're in the state statutes. Basically, there's no prescribed form, you know, but you do want to have a line for printed name, signature, you know, the actual signature, because they're then compared against the voters' registration cards to make sure they're real people.
Sure.
And how many are required?
And also, your town, anytime you get.
217, I think.
Can I say this? The town clerk,
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
very helpful on that.
Yep.
Any day she's in here, you wanna drop in?
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah, she'll get you set.
Right now, it's 10% of the last gubernatorial, you know, when you elected your governor. So whatever that was for the town. And
So
right
the
now,
213 that you came up with for the charter, it's that same number?
230.
213, yeah.
I just give you a little extra because it always changes. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's got the request for it too. Yep.
So what are those purchase orders that you're working on now?
School budget.
What's that?
What are the purchase orders that you guys are working on now?
Oh, it's a variety, some of it's for roads, road work that to be done, some of it's for, for example, supplies for the fire department, rescue, that sort of thing.
Would it, just so that, I mean, these guys are all here, they're all road crew, so it, you know, because they were worried that some of their purchase orders weren't being signed, so that's why, that's exactly why I asked, actually. Because I know you guys have been signing them, so I was,
What roads in town right now are being paved?
Currently should be Barney Street, Stanley, I think it was down there at the same time. Yep.
There is one in there for, also for the transfer station. I don't know if that's what that is.
So Dixon Road.
And Dixon Road.
in Dixon.
To fix the ditch over at the transfer station that we had to dig out left in the middle of the winter there because of the water problem.
Mhm.
I think the request was put in for the, they were approved.
Is that
Right.
coming out of road money or transfer station money, just out of curiosity?
I'm
The
sorry, I
repair-
stopped that.
He was speaking of the repair at the transfer station.
Transfer station.
It comes from transfer station funds.
The well's split, there's two different lines, one goes to highway, one goes towards, so I mean, pretty simple. You see this one, Paul? This is for medical supplies. Question back here. Yeah, future happens.
So did you guys just approve that for the transfer station to be paved? Is that what one of the ones you were working on for the road commission?
PO in here for that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it myself yet.
Okay.
Hey Ben, is there a way we can have, our road metered for traffic, to see what type of traffic comes down that road?
Yeah,
Down the road.
Lower Guinea Road
Oh, Guinea Road.
is, I'm telling you, last year, they came and asked us permission to cut my trees. They had big trees on the corners of my property, cut, open it all up. It was told it was being paved, and nothing happens. We got people 60 miles an hour plus on a dirt road. They snapped my neighbor's telephone pole with a Hyundai accent. You know what I mean?
yep, I got it.
Those don't usually snap poles. But that road gets traffic just like Hubbard Road, Little River Road, Long Swamp Road. It's a constant throughway for people to cut across.
Yep.
And grading it just doesn't cut it.
State would be the one, I mean, through Tom, he's road commissioner now, so I mean, that would be pursued through him.
Do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen it done in town, I'm not familiar with how it was done, but I would assume it would be.
Is that if it comes back?
Yeah,
Like-
high volume and whatever their recommendation
Yes.
is, yeah. Yeah, definitely something to look at. Again, going back to the financials of the town, very tight. This summer, again, is gonna continue to be very tight. But with the passage of the CIP fund for paving,
Yeah.
that will roll from year to year, so that's the good part of that. So, I mean, once we get taxes, everybody thinks that the budget passed right now, so we're ready to go July 1st, but you didn't pay taxes at that point. You know, so what we just took in April, we need to nurse along until we get taxes in again in October. So, you know, again, if we go out and pave all kinds of roads right now, it affects our cash flow massively. It's just like a bank, you know, if we all were to go down to the bank and say, I want my money, you'll close that bank down, because that money's out here, there, and whatever, you know, that cash flow is affected, right? So that's where we're at right now. So with the PO system now back instated, that's gonna help to control that. Again, when I came in, you know, we were up looking in September at a $700,000 TAN, tax anticipation note. You know, we had to borrow that money. Come March, you know, with the new treasurer in and us looking over things, you know, we had to borrow $300,000. So, okay, you're getting better, but we still having to borrow to get through until taxes came in. And then we got to the point where we had $30,000 in the black, and taxes started coming in. We're like, yeah, we didn't go in the negative, right? And 60. We'll find out where we are right now, and if we make some foolish decisions, we're going to be right back where we were. The cash flow is just not there to go say, hey, you know, you can approve an $8 million budget, but you don't have $8 million sitting in the bank right now. You have 1.9. You know, so it's a matter of what do we have in hand. You know, it's really good to look at. So going back to paving the roads, you know, we gotta have a plan.
Yeah. Now, was there money there last year to pave that road when they?
No, the last 2 years since I've been in, honestly, a decree has been sent out by the select board because we were in such dire straits that, again, with the cash flow, that no non-essential spending. I mean, spending was still happening, but not this frivolous stuff. Wait until October comes, we get some money, we get some flow coming in, you know, then we'll look at things. Before the PO system, you know, everybody was just spending. Every department was spending. You know, they think July 1st, some of them were thinking, oh, my whole budget's there. And it's not, because you didn't have that inflow of revenue coming in, you know, from the taxpayer.
I have a question, and this is probably rather dense, but, snow removal and sanding, that all comes out of the road commissioner, out of the road.
Road budget, highway budget.
Right, so
Yeah.
last winter we had a terrible winter,
Yeah.
and so how much more do you have any idea how much more we spent last year versus the year before, just 1 year?
Or more than the other year? I could look, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, for just,
Yeah, because that depletes money that could be used for road repair, right?
absolutely, right, yeah. What's happened is when you build a budget and you know, most people, we're open to the public, the budget committees are open to the public, and most people don't realize all the little line items and what's there. You've had $250,000 set aside in a paving line that hasn't been being used. It was being used because your budget was going flatline, wasn't being used for paving,
Right.
you know, for the last several years.
What was it being used for?
One-ton trucks,
Oh,
so.
One-ton trucks for plowing,
No,
no.
town brush, ditching, it was just being expended out of that line for one-ton trucks.
So was it correct to, when we were at the Meet the Candidates night, when they said we were being billed $550 a day for the use of a one-ton pickup truck? Was that a correct assumption?
That's what it's costing us per day? Per
Correct.
truck. Yeah, it's $52 an hour. So
For the
10
truck with the driver, or just for the
It's an
truck?
independent contractor, so they provide whatever they need to provide, yep. So it's $52 an hour is what we pay right now, for a one-ton truck. So if it's a 10-hour day, it's $520.
Okay.
Can you justify that?
I can justify
How
buying
much
our own
more,
trucks.
how much more does it cost to have a wheel of this, the one ton?
I agree. I spent over 40 hours ripping the highway department apart we typically will look at, you know, this current year's where we are and last year's budget when we do the budgets. I mean, I tore apart the last 3 years. I mean, I spent over 40 hours, sorry, but, you know, that's why I was able to sit there and knock out $80,000 out of that budget, or whatever, 70,000 I think it was. And I don't want to go too far, because boy, I don't want to be the one carrying that burden, make that mistake, you know, nothing's getting done. But, you know, one step at a time, I think you can identify where there was some wasted spending. You know, if you go look at your tax book, for the last several years, a lot of your one-tons we've been paying $140,000 a year.
Can you justify that backhoe digging ditches?
Backhoe, absolutely.
How can you against
Save
an
us.
excavator?
Huh?
Tell me that against an excavator, how can you justify a backhoe?
Depends on what the job is.
Huh?
Depends on what the job is.
unless you're digging one hole in one spot, it
Well,
don't
either
really
you
matter.
trust Tommy to make the decision or you don't, because he's the one out there, whether he's road supervisor or road commissioner,
Yeah, but he hasn't
making
been
that
there, you have.
determination. Huh?
You have, he hasn't been there, you've been in charge.
No, that's not right. He's been out there on the roads while he's road supervisor. So,
How
you
many
know,
times that thing been broke down?
yeah, well, a few times, yeah. But
But doesn't,
he's the one that made that determination.
wasn't there a discussion just about that recently, because there's like $28,000 sitting in a capital account for road equipment and
No, you read that wrong. I read that
okay.
on Facebook.
Oh, you read that incorrectly?
I haven't had time.
Yeah, I know, but everybody makes a mistake. I was just asking because I remember the conversation from a recent
No.
meeting about 28,000 sitting in a capital account, so if.
It was earmarked
Yeah.
because it was told to the public that would be the savings with the backhoe. If we purchased the backhoe, because when we wrote the budget, it was a full-blown budget, not knowing the backhoe would pass. So then the separate question is, do you want to buy this backhoe? And if you do, it's coming out of the roads budget. Okay? On top of that, what was presented was the cost savings overall, you know, even counting insurances, even counting raises for employees. I have the full, I can go dig it out if we want to. But the overall cost savings for the first year was $28,000.
Oh, that was the savings between what was the budget and the new budget. That's not actually sitting in an account like it was thought the other night, correct?
It is earmarked, set off to the side, if you will, on the budget line. Doesn't mean
Okay.
you got, again, it's not the cash flow thing, it's the budget line, so yes, it was earmarked off.
So there is actually 28,000 available to him if he has to repair that backhoe or.
There's other- yeah, out of
Okay.
that budget, yep.
Okay.
But not earmarked for equipment.
Right, and he can't use that like
That's why
to
he's gonna
boost
use the
somebody.
one ton, right, so he can't put it in a wheel. He can't reach and put that in a wheel, ditch it.
Honestly, that hasn't been our decisions in the past to use the one tons. I mean, that's what was being done.
I know it is.
Right.
It might be, what's a wheeler in one ton?
Like a tractor trailer versus, pickup style dump truck, man.
Okay, what's a wheeler, it's like
Tractor trailer.
tractor trailer.
Yep.
And a
Or-
dump truck is a dump truck, I know the dump truck.
So as far as you know, has it ever been presented to a board to purchase a truck, or has it always just been used oh, I think you.
We're just moving everything back.
Ben? as far as you know, was it ever presented by like the former road commissioner? Has it ever been presented to the voters to purchase a truck, or has it always just been par for the course, use whoever's pickup truck is available?
Yeah, whoever's truck.
So, so if, for example, if Tom wanted to pursue purchasing a truck for the town, he would come and put it on like a referendum vote, like these other referendum votes, and he'd have to ask the voters to approve that? Is that the way they would do it?
Just like the backhoe.
Okay, thanks.
Credit card. We have the town credit card. I think you put them here, just POs. From class or visually?
It's a transfer station.
There she is, yeah. Hey Shirley. We're a little early, so as soon as Royce comes back, if you're ready, we're ready. Shirley's here, so. Did that paper get passed around for, we got everybody sign?
Right there.
Oh,
I didn't sign it yet either.
I signed you.
You did? What a guy.
Just one other service.
Yeah. Oh, I know you're here, I'm just gonna make, this is from the minutes, so I know who everybody is. Yeah. Thank you. All you.
Okay, I need to know how to pay for my summer camp.
Okay.
What kind of paperwork I need, what I need for daily field trips.
Yep.
Supplies, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I know you have no taxpayer appropriation right now, but typically we're still doing the purchase order system, you know, for everything.
That's that.
Yeah.
Bye, guys,
POs.
thanks.
But I don't know what I'm gonna, I have to buy supplies. I buy them from a lot of different places. I don't know how I can let you know what it's gonna cost me until I actually purchase them.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a budget of so much for supplies. I don't think I'm gonna spend anything close to that, but I need some money to go to 8 stores and buy different things.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yeah, so it's not stuff you can buy at Staples or anything like that.
No,
You
it's
buy
like
it
any
from CSI.
gallons of water, freezer pops, craft supplies, that kind of stuff.
Okay. We can sign up the credit card, would that work?
Okay.
We can do that. If you
Can
knew
I-
you were gonna go shop that day or something.
Okay,
that would work.
I'd be willing to do that. Do I have a certain limit on that, or do I mean, I know what my budget is, and I'm gonna be under that, but I
Yeah,
don't know if that's,
honestly, if you can't narrow it down any closer than that, I don't know what your budget look was
it's like 3.
for that.
My
line.
supplies are $250. But I'm not gonna borrow it, I'm not gonna use that much. That's like over the whole summer.
Yep, so,
I can do that.
a good guesstimate, if you could do a good guesstimate, if you
Like
can.
around $100.
Yeah, because this is just like a tracking device basically.
Right, I understand that.
So then you'll turn around and, especially if it's on a credit card, that'll come in as an invoice anyway, but keep your receipts.
Oh, I always do.
They
yeah.
can be submitted to
Okay.
Jeanette. And then, the actual expense will be expensed out. So what would happen, let's say you wanted to go and you did a PO for $250. I mean, let's just, you're like you already said, you're not gonna spend that. And then you come back, you go out spend, and it came out to $150. In the meantime, what she'll do is she'll end up expensing whatever you put down on this off your account. So if you said the $250, then you're gonna look like you've fulfilled that whole budget until you bring in the receipts. Once the receipts are brought in, she'll
Okay.
process it.
So I still do the PO even though I'm getting a credit card?
Yeah.
And you have to prove the PO, so I can't go this week and do this. This is gonna be a week or two out.
We're right here, you know, if you want to fill one out, no.
Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
that. My next question is, well, I have I have to go buy a bag of ice on almost every morning.
Well, we're working on that, too, because I gotta check with Jeanette, she was out today.
Because I checked with her yesterday, and Tuesday, and she had no clue.
Yeah, well, the P cards are in the process, we don't know
Okay,
exactly where they're at.
because July 6th, but July 7th, I need to start buying things like that.
Yeah. Last I knew, you know, I mean, she got to the point where she was asking us what amounts we wanted to have on those cards, so I
Okay.
assume that they're pretty close to being in our hands.
Didn't seem to think that they would.
I'll follow up with her.
Okay.
Uh,
That's why I'm here, because I was getting different things from everybody, and I needed to know exactly, because I don't want it out of my pocket and not get reimbursed,
Yep.
because I did something wrong.
Yep. Do you have an idea what amount you would be comfortable with on that card? Because they're pretty loadable through the treasurer here. That's what's going to be nice about those. So
I mean,
$50 or you want that
I
much?
think
on
I
there,
got
that's fine.
two times 20, yeah, $50 would do it for me.
Probably, yeah. Okay.
And then whatever I don't spend will go back into my account, correct?
Right.
Okay,
It would be preloaded on that card,
right.
like prepaid card almost.
But I mean, I could use it another time or whatever.
Yeah. It
I
just
mean, when
won't
my
be-
5 weeks are up, I'm like, what am I gonna do if I have a
Only,
balance left
as long as
on?
the receipts are turned in and it's paid off, once the bills are paid off, it'll be loaded back up.
Okay,
So let's say you had 50 on there, you spent 20, you're gonna have 30 until everything's paid
Okay.
off and then load it back up.
field trips, just fill out my PO 2 weeks ahead of time with whatever the amount is, and then as soon as you approve it, it goes and she cuts a
There's
check.
not gonna be any hold up as far as just a good tracking device. Like I was explaining to John Bozak today as well, honestly, where there's no tax appropriation involved, if you could argue that, you know, but it does cover you guys.
Oh, I
as well.
definitely want to let you know what I'm spending, and I've been doing that right along, giving the receipts.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually filled out the other paperwork 2 weeks ahead of time, because I know she's 2 weeks out, and got the check before I go to the
Yeah.
certain places.
There's not gonna be any hold up on the POs, I mean, we're typically
Okay.
right on top of them. We missed them the other night because we ended up shuffled around a little bit, but
All right.
usually we're right on every meeting.
If I fill one out, then I can get the credit card. I don't think I have one with me. I'll probably leave it on.
Credit card app?
I need something so I can get the credit card, yeah, because I'm gonna need that this week. Okay.